into the car.
We were awesome, bro! Awesome!
Yes, dudes and dudettes, Major League Butt Kicking is back in town!
Oh, yeah!
Awesome! Righteous!
Bossa Nova!
Huh? Bossa Nova?
What up, my dudes, and welcome to
Yeah.
welcome to Ranked and Reviewed. I'm your host, Tomye West, and joining me as always is my co-host, Alannis Maximus.
Greetings.
We are here to do something a little bit different. Now, as you all know, we rank movies from best to worst in a franchise. Usually that's what we used to do. And then this year we've been doing best to worst new releases that we go see at the movies or that get released on the streaming sites and things like that. But this time we've decided we're going back to our old roots for once. And we're going to be doing all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies in that franchise and rate them all from best to worst, worst to best, whichever way you want to put it. We both have separate lists, which leads to some funny, awkward talk sometimes. And yeah, that is the gist of the mist.
Yes.
I just made that saying up. I love it. It was shit, but you know. So, with that, Alannis, how do we normally start our show?
With me saying some things.
You're wrong already. Fucking hell, man.
How do we usually start our show?
The overview.
Ah, yes. Yes.
I nearly walked out on this thing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold the phone. Alannis, are you ready to see what IMDb has this listed as?
What?
What is going on? Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. What? Alan, stop the presses. What is this?
I am unsure.
Is this an error or is this something where is this okay, look, it says down here, original title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Up here it says Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Wait, Ninja. Are they dude, no, seriously. Is this a woke thing?
I'm not sure.
Using the term ninja. Is that dishonorable or something?
Not that I'm aware of.
Alan, we need to break this story. What is going on? Why are they naming it Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles and underneath it says original title Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? It's never changed as far as I know. We have to look into this fucking dude. This could be a whole thing. This is a conspiracy, man. Teenage.
I'll look now.
Yeah, you have a look, please, because my keyboard's covered in fucking soda at the moment, you know? What is going on? That's dumb as all fuck, if that's what they've done. You're joking. Look, what is this? What is this? Name change. Like, there's got to be something about it. You can't just do that willy-nilly to a fucking movie.
There's not much on Google about it, so that's weird.
Dude, that's like That's like changing the name of the Meg to Gigantic Shark and just not caring.
Okay. In the United Kingdom and some other European regions, the franchise was renamed to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles for the violent connotations of the word ninja.
When was this written? Last 4 years?
I don't think so. I think it's been for a while.
Listen, where is it again? They've changed it in some European countries and UK. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hey guys, come on. Hey, Europe, UK, get it together. They're not the Hero Turtles. They're the Ninja Turtles. If I ever have one of you come on and comment, it's Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, I'll banish you from existence. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Sorry to get caught up on that, but that really fucking whacked me out, man. Original title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which isn't the original title, it's just the title. 1990, it was released. Rating of PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. With an IMDb rating of 6.8 out of 10, which I think is a little low. Synopsis: 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Exactly, you put it correctly in the synopsis. So I guess we could just leave the title as it is. I don't know. 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles emerge from the shadows to protect New York City from a gang of criminal ninjas. Wait a minute. If we were to correct that, then that whole thing, would it be 4 Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles emerge from the shadows to protect New York City from a gang of criminal good dudes, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
And did you know that the tagline for this movie is "lean, green, and on the screen everywhere"?
That's terrible.
Yeah, very, very, very terrible. And this stars Judith Hogue as April O'Neil, Elias Koteas as Casey Jones, Josh Pay as Raphael, David Foreman as Leonardo, Brian Tochi as Leonardo. What? There's 2 people that played him. Okay. Oh no. So the stunt, the person that played him, like the movement, David Foreman. The voice done by Brian Tochi. Donatello was performed by Leif Tilden, but the voice was done by Corey Feldman. Michelangelo was acted by Michelin Sisti and voiced by Robbie Rist. And then Splinter was Kevin Clash, also known as that dude that was the puppeteer of Elmo that was apparently inappropriate to people, was the voice of Splinter. James Sato as the Shredder, he acted as him, and then David McCarran as the voice. And it keeps going on like that. So there's like double like actors for each role. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, when you think about it, it makes sense, because who the fuck is going to be in their suit talking that clear and shit? You know what I mean? We heard what they did when they put a mask on Bane. You know, so I'm Goldblum's reckoning. So Alannis, with that. Oh wait, hold on. We didn't do the budget. Let's look at the budget. The budget was 13.5 million estimated. It made on its opening weekend in just US and Canada on April 1st, 1990, 25.3 million. Grossed US and Canada overall 135.3 million, and grossed worldwide $202 million out of the $13.5 million budget, which is, I'd say that's pretty successful.
Yes.
Now with that, Alannis, let's get into it. What are your thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I like it. It's got a lot of nostalgia. I mean, because it came out when I was 6 or 7.
Yep.
Yes, I like the suits. I think like obviously. Well, I don't know if they necessarily even ever really looked good, but they did good enough. Like I think I've seen some bad puppets before that ate horribly, and I don't think these have.
I mean, we're going to get to it later in our rankings and shit, but I mean, the puppet of Splinter later in number 3 is fucked atrocious.
Yeah. There's some weird stuff like it, like when they're young and there's Splinter's little and not mutated, and it's weird. It looks like he's a puppet, but he's superimposed in the scene. And
No. It looks like he's It looks like he's fucking like a projector.
yeah,
Like he's like a
hologram.
like on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like what is it? Save me, whatever.
Oh, save me of me one condemned.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what it looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think the only downside to this movie is kind of the end of the second act when they go to the country and it slows down. I've always thought that's a boring point of the movie. Like,
I would have to agree. I would have much preferred that they stayed in the city, and that they progressed in the city. Just kept New York as the backdrop. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the whole country house thing and stuff just is a little much. I don't know.
yeah,
And I think that the whole like Donatello thing could have just been. Oh, not Donatello. Raphael getting like hurt and shit thing could have just been like a little bit less, I guess.
yeah.
I don't know.
Is he, that's the one thing I don't get as well. Is he like meant to be in a coma?
I don't know. Like, is that something that turtles do? Do they go?
Let's get beat up a turtle and find out.
Do they? Yeah, put in a coma. And we'll see if it ever wakes up again. No, so like, I mean, what other criticisms? Do you have much other criticisms of this or what?
I don't really like this. Like the obvious, like it's tacky because it's '90s, but I mean, everything from the '90s was tacky. It was how it was. But I think as far as some of the shit you're seeing being taken to screen in the '90s, like Mario Brothers, things like that, this did really well.
I do. As I was saying, I would have loved to have known what it was like when this movie was coming up to when it was coming up to being released, because you can't tell me that people weren't looking at it and going, they're like in suits, bro. You know what I mean? Like if we were getting like a movie like that now, and they were in suits, and in the trailers that like we didn't see much or whatever, tell me you wouldn't be like, oh. You know what I mean? I can only imagine back then, especially after it's a year after Batman.
Yes.
Yeah, like how many comic book movies were there in between that and this, you reckon?
I don't know if there would have been many.
Do you reckon there's statistics you can find on that?
So it was 1989 and 1990.
Yep. I mean, remember when Batman came out, it was so successful. It just depends how early Batman came out. Because if it had like, a year or a bit in between, then that's enough time for someone to try and bring something out. But if it was like, 6 months, maybe not,
There wasn't really much.
Probably movies that you couldn't really even classify as.
Yeah, this is pretty much the first kind of major comic book movie, I think, after Batman.
Oh, that's crazy. Whack. So, like, as a kid growing up, how much of a Turtles person were you? How much did you like this movie? And are you one of those like Ninja Turtle diehard fans that like back in the day you were just all about it?
I was definitely big into the Turtles, and I can remember being excited about this movie. I can remember being weird as well, like the little differences from the cartoon. But yeah, no, I can remember as a kid being like, "Yeah, Turtles!" when I saw it, and had no problems with it at all.
Was it one of those movies you watched over and over again?
Absolutely. Yeah. We had like a VHS recorded off TV. I can remember that getting a lot of time being watched.
Yeah, and you saw that I still own it.
Yeah,
like the real copy. Yeah, man, this movie's like always gonna hold a special spot in my life, man. Like, I don't know. Were you like me as a kid, where like certain like music things in like movies would like you'd think that was like the coolest thing ever?
Yes, definitely.
The intro music to this was back then. I was like, that's my jam.
Yeah. I had the soundtrack, and I can remember I used to play it to death on my like cassette Walkman.
I bet you your fucking parents love that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many good moments in this movie, man. Like just like the whole opening. I really think this movie is strongest the first act.
Yeah, I think it starts and ends well, but yeah, it lulls in the middle.
I know, but I think that the opening act to this, like the first act to this movie, is really special.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's the first time we were seeing something like that, and it's also like you from the start you can tell this movie's going to be what you were expecting it to be with the Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? Like the moment you hear, because the first thing you hear is the whoo, 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 whoa. You know, like that's what you hear from the Turtles, so you know exactly they've already got it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this movie's fucking great. Like, it's really good. And yeah, okay, when you watch it now, it is very like okay, because it's 1990s. It's very hard to state that this is a 90s movie when it was clearly probably in production in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I can't see this movie as an 80s movie. This movie to me is quintessential 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I mean, the 90s didn't change much at all through the whole of the 90s, from the way people looked in this movie to the end of the 90s.
Yeah, not at all.
Like that 80s, like it's almost like the 80s fashion started going out before the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, before it ended. You know what I mean? Like, so it's almost like as in like probably in like August or September of like 88. Everyone was like transitioning into like what was like the 90s like look almost. That's what would have had to have happened, because this movie is just quintessential that 90s, and it was 1990. You know what I mean? Like, I mean the clothing, the music, the like grittiness to the movie. Like, you know, I think that's one of this movie's greatest like things it's got going for it, which is that it is gritty and dirty, and the city of New York's dirty and gritty, and you know what I mean? Like, it gives the movie that real world sort of comic book adaptation feeling, like The Dark Knight did, or like Batman 1989 did. You know, where it felt grounded enough, like that it could be something that happened. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't silly. And I really think that it was cool that like the big threat wasn't all of that big of a threat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Shredder wanted to do bad things and shit, but not every kid's going to get wrapped up and go fucking join the Foot Clan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, dude, you know how fucking cool I used to think that warehouse was, that they had the Foot Clan warehouse where they're all skateboarding and smoking and fucking playing pool and fucking playing video game like arcade machines and shit. Like, bro, I was like, man, I am a part of the Foot Clan for sure, bro. I would definitely fuck some shit up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like, what did you think of all that when you were growing up and shit?
I thought it was cool. It was as you said, it's very much like the 90s. It's a very good representation of that era and the movies and stuff.
Just someone carrying a boombox around, man. That screams it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those movies that I have trouble faulting, just because.
I really
it is solid. It is just good.
And you know what? I was like wondering if me and you were like that because we like the movie and we grew up with it, or if and so it's a nostalgic thing for us, or if it genuinely is a good movie. But I showed my son this movie the last time he was here, and he fucking loved it, man.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, he kept quoting it. non-stop. Just kept going. Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
I have a message for you.
Miss O'Neill, shut it. I mean, what? There's got to be some stuff you can fault. Like you already told me about the middle that you already faulted that. But like, go into a little bit deeper of why maybe you don't like that.
As you were kind of saying, I think it would have been better if it stayed in New York. Like they set that up really well, the way they've depicted it, and I don't know, it slows down the high action for a little bit too long. I think it's just a weird sequence, especially when they get to the car and as they get to the house. Sorry, when they get to this house, the van breaks down, and it's like, they're at the house they're going to anyway. Why are we having to watch them fix a car now? Like,
Yeah, it's annoying.
It felt like weird.
I totally agree. Yeah, like that whole middle bit just feels to me like it's like it doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the movie just is set in the same place, has the same tone, has the same feel, blah blah blah. Whereas then it suddenly cuts to like them out in the country basically in like this shitty little place, and like Raph's out of it and everyone's all depressed through it and all this shit. And you're like, come on, let's get back to the fun, man. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Raph, I know you're a Raph guy, man. I know you're a Raph guy, but I think he just causes way too much trouble, mate. He fucks everything up for these fucking turtles, man. Everything. Think about it.
Raphael.
Think about it. This whole fucking adventure is all because of Raphael. Like, he shouldn't have brought what's her name back? O'Neill. To the turtle cave. Shouldn't have done it. The sewer. You shouldn't have done it, Raph. You fucked up big time, mate. You should have taken her to the hospital and dropped her off out the front. I mean, if you're carrying her all the way, I know she was already in the sewer or in the subway or whatever. But look, you walk around town all day wearing your fucking hat and your fucking raincoat and you get away with it. You know what I mean? And it's like, you could have just taken her somewhere safe. Like, you broke the sanctity of the turtles, right? You see that you're the catalyst. So, I mean, I know you're a rough guy. I know Alannis. I know you love him, but come on, can't you see how fucking much Raphael fucked up to them?
Yeah, I can see, but I'm still.
He's such a fucking emo man. Like, he goes to see the movie Critters, and then he's like, where do they come up with this stuff? And it's like, you can't even have fun at the movies, Raphael. Like, nothing you do is fun, apparently, you know? Like, what the fuck? And it's weird, because isn't, like, Donatello, like, the nerd?
Yes, he is, yeah.
But in this movie, he doesn't act any different to them.
No, the only thing that slightly is he helps fix a car, which isn't really that nerdy, really.
That is one thing I will say about these turtles, is that in this iteration, they're all pretty much the same turtle except for Raphael.
Yeah, I can agree there.
Maybe Leonardo's a little bit different because he has that leadership to him, and he's also kind of like he realizes when he should like lift his game a bit, like when he's like, we kicked, we fought well. You know that? Like,
yeah.
That, like, so I don't know, man. I feel like they're pretty much the same turtle except for Raphael. Whereas in like the new Michael Bay ones, yes, I'm not the biggest fan of them. But like they all are different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
But then again, how much different are they to each other in the original like Kevin Eastman books?
I don't know about in the books, but in the cartoon they weren't super different.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. It seems like they that's just weird to me that the Ninja Turtles don't really have a lot that separate them in most iterations, you know?
Yeah.
But it works too because you can kind of understand that they're only growing up with Splinter and each other, so I guess that they're going to kind of be like each other. You know what I mean?
That's true. That is a good point.
And what did you think about what did you think about how April O'Neil was played? What did you think about like her boss at work? What did you think about the police chief? Like all these people.
The police chief is great. He's just that typical 90s, like, over it cop. I think he's cast well. April is cast quite well as well. I think my favorite human casting, I think, is Casey Jones. I just think he's done super well.
I love Casey Jones in this movie.
I love how casually he just murders Shredder as well. He's like, whoops.
Yeah, and I love how if you, like that. That's supposed to like be a laughing moment at the end, and shit. I'm sure parents at the end of that movie were like, "The fuck." Kids do not do that.
Yeah.
When we get home, if you put your dad in the fucking the garbage compactor, and you press that button,
you're in trouble.
It's not going to be a simple whoops, mate. And what do you think? How do you think this goes as being like the first iteration of the Turtles? Apart from was this the animated series before this?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it did well. Like for what they had to work with at the time, I think they made it a little bit their own, and they also kind of captured it fairly accurately, I guess. I think it's a good incarnation of it, and I think it's a solid start to the Turtles movies. It's completely rewatchable when you look back on it. It's not like Mario Brothers where you're like, what is this shit? It's just solid, I think.
Definitely. I mean, like when you think about back to that day, the early 90s, and the movies that they were trying to bring across that were multimedia things, you know, so like we had Batman, you've got like Superman, you've got like who else was there? There was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Transformers, you know, like all this shit. I still feel like this is like at the top of the ladder.
Absolutely.
Like this and Batman 1989 are the top of the ladder.
Yeah. This would be like probably this and Batman 1989.
Yeah. I'd agree. I'd agree. What do you think how would you feel if they would like bring this sort of like style back now?
It'll be interesting. I've actually seen people talking about it online. I think it would be interesting if they did do it, but did it for like the Last Ronin storyline and go back to the same sort of like practical. I think that could be interesting to see them do if it's done correctly.
What do you think about the Last Ronin game coming out?
I'm interested. I didn't actually know much about this storyline until recently. Like I think just before the game was announced, and I'm curious to read it as well. Like it just sounds like it's a fairly quality kind of story and kind of, I guess, I don't know if it's canon or if it's kind of an alternate telling of the story with the Turtles. But I'm keen to learn more about it. Did
they like you haven't read it yet?
I haven't yet.
So do you know who is the Ronin or not?
Yes, yeah. It's Michelangelo.
Is it really?
Yeah, which I think is an interesting choice because he's like the happy-go-lucky one, and now he's like this kind of avenging vigilante.
Because I couldn't remember who it was the last Ronin, even though I'd been told. And I showed Quinn the like trailer for the game, like the teaser.
Yeah.
And I said to him like, "There's a hint at like which one it is because of like what weapons are thrown at the, you know what I mean, or what candles blow out or whatever." And I was like, "Do you know which one it'll be?" And we watched it, and we both couldn't pick it, and then both of our guesses were not Michelangelo. So that's really weird.
Yeah.
And I mean Jim Henson, man.
Yeah. Was this before he died, or after he died?
I feel like he was alive. I mean, because he did the dinosaur show as well in the early 90s.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless maybe, well, let's have a look here. When did he die? He died 1990.
Ah.
So he would have been involved in this.
Yeah.
This may have been his last movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm having a look. Movies and TV shows. Show more. You'd have to say this is his last movie.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to his IMDb page. We're having a look. His last movie was. What the fuck? What? Is it Jim Henson?
I'm pretty sure.
Because it's not here. I swore it was Jim.
Maybe it was just his company.
Yeah, like. This is throwing me through a fucking whirlwind now, man. I'm having a look. Let me have a look on the page. So I can't find anything about it being about it. It has to have been because I can't think of any other people that are like famous for like puppets and shit back then. Can you?
Not that I can think of. Maybe, yeah, it might have even been just a company like Henson himself directly.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's kind of like that fucking the people that do all like the fucking giant robots and shit. And the Steve Winston.
Oh yeah, Stanley.
He died. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so look, I think we should give our sort of wrap up to this a little bit, I guess. Alannis, out of 5, what would you give this movie?
I would give this movie a 5. Like,
Yep.
I think it's pretty great. I'm a big fan of it, and I would give it a solid 5.
And I am going to be giving it a 4.
That is fair.
And I want you to think about yours too, because is it a 5 with the way the middle drags?
Maybe 4.5.
Because to me, I think that is a really big problem. I really think that even when I was a kid, I remember like even putting the movie on, like even after I'd seen it a bunch of times, I'd still put it on, and I'd always probably like roughly get to that bit and turn it off.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to put it as a 4. And we did see TMNT Mutant Mayhem last week. We saw it in D-Box, as there were no 40X sessions listed at the time. And we now find out that there is 40X sessions. So that really pisses me off because not only is it we found out they've got 40X sessions, they're 3D as well.
Yep.
So I will be going to see this movie again this Saturday coming up. So next week, this Saturday coming up, this Saturday night, going to see it in 3D 40X. We saw it in D-Box. D-Box is shit. Don't pay for it. It's too expensive and it's rubbish. What do you think?
I agree. 100%.
And yeah, maybe we can do a quick updated version and I can give my opinion on the 40X or something in the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review, you know?
Yeah.
So we got Secret of the Ooze next, Alannis. Yeah. You excited? I would give what? Sorry?
I'm definitely excited. I have a soft spot for this movie as well.
I haven't seen all of Turtles in Time, I don't think, ever. And the Secret of the Ooze is like the one that I've seen, like I have seen it a couple of times, but I don't remember a lot. I just remember the starting of it where they're like with the Asian kid fighting and shit. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Before we end it, Alannis, and I bring up the ranking screen so far between the two movies that we have ranked so far, let's do a little bit of trivia, shall we?
Yes.
Robin Williams, who was a big fan of the franchise, provided Judith Hoag with information regarding her character through his comic book collection. The two were co-starring in Cadillac Man in 1990 when the Turtles film went into production. This was the highest grossing independent film until the Blair Witch Project in 1999, having made $135 million in domestic box office and $66 million in foreign box office. Shredder and the Foot Clan's hideout were filmed in an abandoned cement factory called the Ideal Cement Factory outside of Wilmington, North Carolina in Castle Hayne. This location was also used as a set of Dino Hatton in Super Mario Brothers 1993 and Top Dollar's nightclub in The Crow in 1994. Judith Hoag was not asked to reprise her role as April in the film sequels due to her own personal complaining, particularly about the 6-day schedule and the amount of violence in the movie. What an idiot. To help diagnose how cumbersome and slow the Turtles' costumes were, dialogue scenes were shot at 23 frames per second, so that when they were played at normal speed of 24 frames per second, they appeared a bit sharper. For the same reason, fight scenes were shot at 22 or 23 frames per second. That's nasty. Like 1 frame's difference, like we're making it like it's a really big deal to emphasize how slow they were or whatever.
Yeah.
We had to slow it down a whole frame or whatever. Like, oh god, poor you. We'll go one more. Corey Feldman said he was offered only $1,500 to do the voice work for the film. Corey accepted, believing the producers who told him that this was only a small budget independent film, hoping that it would have success on VHS if they were lucky. The movie ended up making millions of dollars at the box office. There you have it. Oh, wait.
Yes.
It was Josh Pay's idea to give Raphael a Brooklyn accent. You got a problem with chat, Mikey? Or whatever. Shut it. All right. So we'll bring up our scoreboard. Alannis? Look, I forgot to get it. Oh, wait, did I? Yes, I forgot to get it. Look, Alannis, where do you put this movie against?
I put this at the top above the new Turtles movie.
Of course you do. Fuck's sake. And yeah, I'm going to do the same. That might change after 3D 40X. Who knows? Alannis refuses to come with me. You see, he doesn't love the art of the craft as much as me. I love being a turtle. All right, everyone. Thank you, and we will see you next week. Wait. Is there anything next week?
Like baby?
I'm gonna look now. We should work this out before we go, because then we can work out if we're coming back straight away with another follow-up next week or if not. So, coming soon, or even now, whatever, cinema, movies, yep, that's what we want, coming soon. So, sort by release date, newest first. We have Blue Beetle this week coming up. Let me have a look at where we're seeing this and how it's going to work. 40X. Oh, okay. We have 40X time. No, wait, we don't. Wait. Century City, filter by experience, 40X. So far, there are no 40X times out, but it has gold class times up and shit. For next Thursday so the 14th. So we got Blue Beetle. What are we doing? Are we seeing that on the day or what?
I reckon we see it maybe on the Friday.
Well, okay, cool. But do we see it in 40? Like, when do you reckon 40X times will go up? When did 40X times go up for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
It was pretty much across last week, I'm pretty sure.
So we've got to keep an eye on it. Hopefully, man, it has to. It has to come to 40X.
I'd be very surprised if it didn't. And
then after that, we have what are we going to go see after that? There's a few movies opening after that are nothing. There's a Liam Neeson movie opening called Retribution, and it just looks like Taken. Looks like Saw is the next big release thingy. I don't want to go see Alan. Then we got Expendables. Then we got fucking Five Nights at Freddy's. The Marvels. Wonka. Dune. The Color Purple. Fuck no. All right, so yeah, next week we will be coming at you with Blue Beetle. Hopefully 4DX, 3D, 4DX, 4DX, one of them. And maybe if we can fit it in, we may do Secrets of Use next week as well. If not, we'll follow Blue Beetle up the week after with Secrets of Use. I'm your host as always, Tomye West. Joining me as always is my co-host Alannis Maximus. We both have a message for you.
Shut it.
Shut it.